in with all of those great things that we're looking to achieve moving forwards. So as we said, it's Ground Control's 50 years old. As you know, our mission statement is to leave the world in a better place than we found it. And because our corporate social responsibility and our responsibility to the environment is so great in Ground Control. Oh, sorry guys.
My database locally, because I'm working on completely different tasks.
Can I just get you to pop your... Can I get you to put yourselves on mute, if that's okay? Thank you, guys. We've put together a network within Ground Control called Evercare. And Evercare is a group of people who are passionate about all things sustainable, all things corporate social responsibility. And we're working as a group to try and put together things that we think would be great for the business and great for our people around that environmental piece. So that's what Evercare is. So Evercare is fairly new. You'll have seen some things on Jason's town hall updates around what Evercare are doing. And one of the things that we wanted to be really sure that we did was to really celebrate our 50 years of being in business and how we've managed to change the environment by working in collaboration with our customers and all of our people and our external stakeholders, was that we had a plan over the next 12 months to really celebrate those 50 years, but in the way that we do best, which is around our green credentials and around sustainability and the environment. So the 7 habits of sustainability have been put together by our wonderful Alison Cross, and these are things that can help us individually to make sure that we have the opportunity to look at our own lives, both in work and out of work, to reduce our carbon footprint and do what we can to help the environment. So just running through them, the first one is avoiding single-use items, and I'll go through that in a little bit more detail with you. Using smarter transport, making smarter choices on what we all eat, using our resources wisely, greening our finances, connecting with nature, and getting involved to give back and volunteer. And while we're going through each of those, it'd be really good for you to be able to reflect on what that looks like, have a think about what you're doing now compared to what you could do in the future. And even if you take away just one item of things that you could change today, that would be fantastic. We're asking for everybody to kind of analyse and audit, I guess, a personal audit of all the things that you do in your own lives and your working lives that go towards your own carbon footprint. And then going on to the World Wildlife Fund carbon footprint checker, and putting in all of your details that will chuck out what your carbon footprint is likely to be at the moment. And then what we're really hoping is that over the next 12 months, taking all of these 7 habits of sustainability into account, each and every one of us is going to be able in 12 months' time to be able to say, we've reduced our carbon footprint. These webinars have been able to help us to get to a place where we now know a little bit more about how we can individually help to reduce climate change compared to where we were 12 months ago. And then finally, we're going to be going through the GC benefits. So all the great things that we have in GC that tie in to that sustainability and environment piece, and how we can access all of those benefits to really make a difference moving forwards. We're going to have a Q&A session at the very end. So if anyone has a desperate question they wanted to ask on the way through, please do feel free to shout out, but you're very welcome to save them to the end and we can have a discussion. I'm unlikely to know the answer unless it's something really, really basic around sustainability, but we have lots of experts online with us today who will be able to answer those questions for you. And if we haven't, then I'm really happy to take those questions away and come back to you with the answers. So our first one of our 7 habits is avoiding single-use items. So the damage to the environment begins long before that plastic bottle is discarded. The manufacturing process produces toxic chemicals like benzene and ethylene oxide. So producing four 500 milliliter plastic bottles is the same amount of greenhouse gas production as traveling a mile by car. So you can imagine all of the water bottles and all of the Coke bottles and everything else that we have out there, anything that's plastic, the amount of greenhouse gases we're creating by that manufacturing is enormous. So what can we do individually to reduce that? So we can stop using plastic straws for one. Plastic straws, as you know, are damaging to wildlife. The manufacture and production of them is helping those greenhouse gases go up and up. So purchase a reusable stainless steel or glass straw. You can get them at Tesco's, you can get them anywhere, you can get really posh ones. I actually saw some Louis Vuitton ones online the other day, so they might be on my Christmas list for next year. but having a reusable stainless steel or glass straw means that you can clean it, you can take it with you, and keep it in your bag so you've got it for next time round. Stop using plastic bags. We've come a really long way with plastic bag reduction from supermarkets and shops. So just stop using them altogether. A single plastic bag can take up to 1,000 years to degrade, which is, we haven't got that long to be able to save the planet. So let's make sure we take that really strong action, stop using plastic bags, and purchase a reusable one, but make sure that you use it and wash it out as frequently as possible, or you can make your own. Give up gum. Chewing gum's made of synthetic rubber, so it's plastic. You're actually chewing plastic. So have some nice sweets. Avoid your chewing gum if you can. So buy boxes instead of bottles. Products like laundry detergent very often come in cardboard boxes, which is more easily recycled than plastic is. So that's a really easy change. Purchase food like cereal, pasta and rice from bulk bins and find a reusable bag or container. There are lots of shops cropping up now and lots of things online that will come along and help you to do that refilling rather than going to a supermarket and buying individual items. You get to save money and you reduce your packaging. So reuse containers for storing leftovers, or if you're shopping in bulk. Always use a reusable bottle or mug for your beverages, or when ordering from a to-go shop, so you can get them, take them in, and you get a reduction. So if you're a Costa lover, you actually get a reduction in the cost of your coffee if you use a reusable cup. Bring your own container for takeouts to a restaurant. So that's your doggy bag. You can take it home with you, because restaurants tend to use styrofoam, which we don't want to be doing. So avoid buying frozen foods because their packaging is almost always plastic. And even those that appear to be cardboard are coated in a thin layer of plastic. So reduce that where possible. And ask your local greengrocer to take plastic containers from you back. So if you get given them when you're buying stuff, take them back in. If you shop at a farmer's market, they'll refill them for you. If you can make freshly squeezed juice or eat fruit instead of buying juice in plastic bottles, that's got to be a good way to go. And it's definitely healthier and much better for the environment. And then you can make your own cleaning products, and that will be less toxic and eliminate the need for multiple plastic bottles or cleaner. Use a razor with replaceable blades instead of a disposable razor, so you can minimise that down. Apologies. Fast fingers there, bear with me. Pack your lunch in reusable containers and bags, opt for fresh fruits and veggies and bulk items instead of products that come in single serving cups, and ditch plastic bottle shampoo and conditioners and gel, and use soap instead. And you can get those from Holland and Barrett, or other stores are available. So smarter travel, moving on to our next 7 habits that's going to help us. Transport's one of the biggest emitters of greenhouse gases with other harmful pollutants. So consider how you get to your destination and around how you can leave a lighter footprint. So the options and changes that you can make to get there. So walk or wheel. So wheeling is a term used for wheelchair users. It's going to improve your health. It's going to help you get social because you'll be meeting other people on the way, or you may be walking with friends. You could do a walkie-talkie if you're doing a meeting and you're having a one-to-one with a colleague, or you're having a one-to-one with a line manager. Ask them if they want to go for a walk instead. Go and get social. It improves your health because your heart rate goes up, obviously, and you'll be saving money. So you'll be saving money by walking from A to B and reducing. By the time you found your car keys, you could already be there. Another option, if it's a further distance, would be to cycle. So you're reducing congestion and air pollution, and you can use your GC benefits to buy a new bike, which we'll go on to slightly later on. Public transport, if you reduce your CO2 emissions by up to 40% by using the bus and 79% by using the train. So that one for me is a massive win. If you can cut out even a couple of journeys per week and go on the bus or by train or walk or cycle, you'll be doing a massive reduction in your carbon footprint. So electric vehicles, a full EV charge in a pure EV can give a typical range of 200 miles and costs as little as £8 to £12 to get a full charge. And you can use your GC benefits to lease that EV. So again, we'll go on to that a little bit later. Lift sharing, if you live nearby other people that are going in the same direction as you, always offer to lift share. You can have a chat, you can sing in the car. If you've got Gary there with you, you can always do a little bit of singing and a little bit of waving, unless you're driving. You can share the cost of the travel, and it'll help reduce your carbon footprint. And then finally, efficient driving. If you drive efficiently, you'll be using less fuel. So make sure you've got the correct tyre pressure, avoid excessive speeds, Use your window rather than having your air conditioning on if you possibly can, and drive smoothly. So you'll use more fuel by speeding up and braking. So if you drive more smoothly and just take your time, you'll find that you have a far easier drive and a much cheaper one. So our next one for our 7 habits is make smarter choices on what you eat. So the suggestions are to adopt a plant-based diet. The water footprint in the UK is around 2,500 litres of water per person, which is a huge water footprint. If you switch to a vegetarian diet, you can reduce that by 35%. And just for note, drinking a glass of milk, cow's milk every day for a year is the equivalent to driving a car for 600 miles. So just taking away that one glass of milk or not having milk in your tea and coffee can make a big, big impact. Eating with the seasons. So food grown outside the natural growing season requires more pesticides, it requires more preservatives and normally waxes, and it's ripened with ethylene gas. So if you want to avoid all of those things, eat seasonal. Have stuff that's in season. There's some fantastic chefs out there that do exactly that, and you'll come up with some amazing recipes. And that's something that perhaps everyone on the call, if they're making different recipes, would like to share across the business, because I know I've run out of ideas. So any great food ideas that you want to send through would be fantastic. Buy from your local producers. It's fairly sensible, fairly obvious. It reduces the footprint for that food that's being transported, and you can go organic, which makes it even better. It's worth weighing up buying organic versus buying local. Sometimes organic, if it's got a longer footprint and travel, then it can be that it actually outweighs buying something local that hasn't been grown organically. So just kind of weigh up the pros and cons on both of those. And look at your food waste. Plan your shopping and reduce your food waste by 20%. And particularly at the moment, we know the economy is really tight on everyone's purse. So if you're able to just plan ahead, plan your shopping for the week, go and only buy what you need, you'll find you're not throwing stuff out the fridge, you haven't got leftovers, you'll have more in your pocket, and less on your waistline, and certainly less in the rubbish bin. So using your resources wisely. The best way to do this is to complete a home audit. See what and where you can change. So go around the house, have a look at what light bulbs you're using. Can you save money by putting in energy saving light bulbs? Make sure you turn the lights off when you leave a room. Turn the tap off when you're brushing your teeth. It doesn't need to be running while you're brushing your teeth. You only need to rinse it afterwards. So turn it on, put your toothpaste on, turn it off, brush your teeth, turn it back on to rinse away. Use water efficient shower head. Many water companies do them, so you can find out from those online, I'm sure. And keep heat in by shutting doors and windows in the rooms you need most. My mother's favourite saying used to be, were you born in a barn? Because I used to leave the door open all the time. I don't do that now. I have to pay the heating bill, I might add. So try and shut all the doors and windows when you can, and seal any gaps around the doors with draft excluders. When you put the kettle on, only boil the amount of water you need. Kettle doesn't need to be full to make 1 cup, so just fill it for your own needs. And turn off your computers, your laptops, or any other electrical items when you're not using them. Even being on standby uses a percentage of electricity. So help yourselves and help your pocket and help the environment. And obviously recycle where you can. So I will share these online afterwards, and you can go through all of these at your leisure as to what you can recycle and what you can't. And let's really make a concerted effort to get as much as we can recycled so that we're reducing that waste wherever possible. So greening your finances. This is a really interesting one. There was an article that stated that greening your finances is one way to have a huge impact personally on reducing carbon footprint and making sure that we are looking after our environment. So ethical banking uses its customers' money to invest in sectors like green energy. They're really careful where they invest, and they try not to invest in companies that are pollutants or that are mining or that have a detrimental effect to the environment. These are a couple of banks that you might want to have a look into. There are lots of others as well, but it's a really good place to start. And one of our webinars will actually be around greening your finances as we move through the year. Connecting with nature. It sounds obvious to us because we work in an environmental company where we're outdoors, and have that passion for the environment. But seek out green spaces. Go and find those lovely places where you can connect with nature and really enjoy being outside. Use relaxing mindfulness, enjoy that time to really connect, to clear your mind, to take deep breaths, to think and plan ahead. And that's when your brain relaxes and you actually get most innovation. So that's when most of your light bulb moments will come into play. Interact with wildlife. Find out what's going on around you. Go and have a look and see what wildlife you have. If you've got hedgehogs coming into the garden, or you've got bees, or you've got, if you wanted to plant up something that would attract all that wildlife in, take an interest in helping that other wildlife around you. And enjoy your creativity, something for the heart, something for the soul, something for the mind. So creativity with using that outdoor space. You could take up photography, you could take up painting, you could be creative in all sorts of different ways by using that space. And lots of us across the business obviously love gardening, conservation, farming, anything that helps us be outside and connecting with nature, makes us become stewards for it and want to look after it so that we have and preserve that legacy for future generations. And finally, get involved, give back and volunteer. Protect public spaces. You could go litter picking. You can become part of a council resource group that volunteers to look after outside spaces. You could support a cause. So at Ground Control, we support lots of different charities. We support the Bumblebee Conservation Society, the Butterfly Society, and all sorts of other ones. But you may have a cause that's close to your heart. Having that purpose and that connection with a purpose is a really important thing to get that involvement in what you're doing. Share resources. You can help and save, and we can work with customers, we can work with clients, we can work with each other to help share skill sets, help share materials that we may have left over to be able to make a difference in that volunteering space. And look at the big picture. How is what we're doing looking after the climate, looking after the environment, helping the planet to heal and make it better? So all of the things that we've just mentioned on those 7 habits, we have benefits and we have actions within Ground Control that are practical ways that you can utilize what we have available to us to be able to make a difference. So last year, our GC benefits, we actually completed 488 hours of volunteering. And we managed to raise over £12,000 by matched fundraising. So going through our benefits, just to sort of match them into what we were talking about with those 7 habits, is we have a cycle to work scheme. So you can save up to 40% on a new bike when you join the cycle to work scheme when it's run across the business. We know it's a great way to increase your health. It's a great way to get you from A to B. You can reduce your carbon footprint. It stops congestion. And we can reduce that cost by 40% if you go through the cycle to work scheme. So if that's something you're interested in, reach out through the GC benefits and let us know. Octopus EV car leasing. This is something that's available to everybody across the business. You can lease an EV through Octopus EV, which we have a partnership with. And it's done at point of gross. So it's not coming out of your net salary, it's a salary sacrifice. So it comes out of your gross salary, which makes it so much less expensive to be able to do. And I believe, but I'm sure I'll be corrected on this, I think it's around a 40% saving. We have free access to Kew Gardens. So this is around the connecting to nature piece. Make sure that you utilise going to Kew Gardens. It's the most incredible place to go and spend time. You can go with family, you can go with friends. We have free access, and you also get discounts for other people that are coming with you. Octopus Renewable Energy. If you join Octopus, you get a £50 reduction to begin with. And we're also giving a £50 charitable donation to the World Wildlife Fund, which is fantastic from a business perspective. It's engaging, it's helping the environment. It helps you to have renewable energy. Check out what the pricing is around that at the moment, because obviously the tariffs are slightly different at the moment. If you're already locked into a tariff, make sure that it's financially viable for you to do so. But if you can, make that swap. It's a really great thing to do. And then volunteering. We have 2 volunteering days a year for every single person in Ground Control. But last year, only 488 hours of that volunteering across a business of 1,200 people. So we've got loads of scope to be able to do so much more volunteering. You might want to do it for a local charity, you may want to do it for a national charity, but make sure you use those 2 days to be able to support something that's really important to you. We want to support everybody individually to your unique connection to something that's of purpose or really important to you. So do that volunteering and make sure that you email in to let us know that you've done it. And this year, as part of our 50 years celebration, we've actually organised to have another community day added on to those 2 volunteering days for just this year, where we're going to be doing volunteering for our clients and our customers. So we're going to be going to their communities for things that they're passionate about, for things that their businesses support in local community to really make a difference and help them to push their own fundraising efforts forward, and their volunteering to achieve things that we can do that by numbers, by increasing those numbers and helping that we get involved. So there's a list of some really great things you can become involved with. They're all regional, so there'll be things that are close to where you live. You don't need to come down to Essex to do them. And we'll be sending those out over the next couple of weeks for you to really get involved with and engage with. And then finally, our matched fundraising. So last year we matched, we had £12,000 of matched fundraising, which is fantastic, but we can do so much better than that. If you're raising money outside of ground control, make sure you email in and we'll match it up to £500. It doesn't have to be just money that you're fundraising. It may be that you're making cakes and you're not making money for them, but you're helping to do so, or you may be doing a toy drive, or you may be collecting things that are material rather than financial. If you let us know what that is, we can put a financial number on that and we can match it for you. So we can increase it and we can invest in that way. So these are all the fantastic things that will connect you to all of the great webinars that we're having over the next 12 months. There'll be all sorts of stuff from biodiversity. Sophie Stevens will be producing and introducing with you for the sustainability webinar next week to talk about all the different things around sustainability and what that actually means from a business and a personal perspective. We'll be having external talkers coming in from hopefully Octopus and some of our charities like the Bumblebee Conservation Society, to help us understand how we can make a difference with all of those amazing things. Let me just come back out and come and join you. So there's a whistle-stop tour of all of the great things that we're going to be doing over the year, all the ways that you can be involved, all the things that you can make a difference with. We'll be putting all of the 7 habits out to the business, so you'll have all of the details around those and you can look at those at your leisure and measure yourselves against them. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they would like to add? Any hints or tips that you think we may have missed off, that would be really helpful to share across the business?
Just seen quite a few people dropped comments into the chat, giving their feedback, their links to BBC sites to go and look at. So that's also great for everybody to go back and look, and that'll stay in this chat in your Teams channel because you attended.
Fantastic. So thanks, guys, for the interaction there. That's wonderful. Apologies, I'm not able to see my chat when I'm presenting. I'm on a single screen in the office. So I apologise if there's anything that come up there that you think I've missed, but thank you for putting those in there. What we'll do is we'll pull those off as well, and we'll make sure that they're added into the slides if there's hints and tips, so that when they all go out to everybody and they're available, all of that information is there for you. So hopefully today will have given you a little bit of a taster for what's to come. The webinars are every Wednesday at 12:30. They'll be different every single week. As I said, some internal delivery, some external delivery. There'll be something for everybody. And I would be really delighted if everybody would go and assess their carbon footprint, work out what it is, perhaps email it over to me, and then I can make a log of it and we can carry on going through. And then we're going to have quarterly check-ins as to where we are. And it would be really great to be able to assess, have any of those things made a difference? Have you been able to adopt those habits to help make those changes? And then at the end of the year, how amazing would it be if we could add all of that reduction together and be able to say, thanks, Sophie, popping that in there, appreciated. And then at the end of the year, we'll be able to say, because of our celebrations for our 50th year anniversary, ground control has been able to collectively reduce its carbon footprint by X amount. That would be my mission for the year from these webinars, and that would just be so awesome to be able to do that collectively with everybody on this call and everyone across ground control. So did anyone have anything they would like to raise other than in the comments? Is there anything anyone would like to say? You're welcome, Callum. So Callum's getting the bus and the train in on Friday. Fantastic. Excellent. I'm very pleased to hear that. So have a think about how you can make those changes. Have a think about which ones you want to invest in. I'd start slow, maybe pick a couple and kind of commit to them and then build them up. You know what it's like with New Year's resolutions. You do too much too soon and it all becomes very complicated. My dry January went out the window yesterday and it became a very damp one. So don't go down that road, okay? Make sure you commit. Find a couple of things that can really make a difference to you and that you know you can commit to. And then let's go on this journey together. And by the end of this year, let's make a difference. Fantastic. Right, guys, go and have a wonderful day, a fantastic week, and I'm excited about the year ahead. Thank you so much for your attendance today. It's been wonderful to see so many people here, and the best of luck with your reduction journey.